अब शुरू करते हैं। नमस्ते, I'm JVN Dr. Suman Devi, Reading and Reflecting, Department FEM. The topic is Reading Comprehension with Extrapolation. So what is extrapolation? It is introduction. It is in a kind of like an educated guess or hypothesis. When you make an extrapolation, you take facts and observation about a present or known situation and use them to make a prediction about what might eventually happen. Extrapolation comes from the word extra, meaning outside, and a shortened form of the word interpolation. Interpolation might sound like a made up word, but it is not. An interpolation is an insertion between two points. So an extrapolation is an insertion outside any existing points. If you know something about Monday and Tuesday, you might be able to make an extrapolation about Wednesday. When you make an extrapolation, you take facts and observation about a present or known situation and use them to make a prediction about what might eventually happen. Extrapolation comes from the word which I have already told, so it is the shortened form of intrapolation. The purpose of this research was to analyze the process that allows students to develop reading comprehension through extrapolation. A mixed methodology was used where through the descriptive correlation analysis between the study variables and the quality one that allowed describing and explaining the pedagogical process carried out. Regarding the quantitative method, a purposive sample of 220 students from the engineering area of a public university in Lima, Peru, whose ages ranged from 16 to 20 years old, of both the genders were used. For the qualitative analysis, 8 students were randomly selected. The results showed that the dimensions referring to a reading comprehension had an average value of 53%, and the correlational analysis indicated a positive and regular average relationship between reading comprehension and extrapolation. It was concluded that the use of extrapolation for the development of reading comprehension has been positive, reaching significant level. Extrapolating questions expect you to extrapolate ideas and data given in the passage to new concept or comparable instances outside the passage. As is evident from that very sentence below, there are two subcategories from the reading comprehension. Number one, some of these questions will present an entirely new concept that has not been discussed at all in the text and ask you to sort of get inside the author's mind and make a deduction of what he or she might think about it. Considering the fact that you have been carefully reading and analyzing the author's tone and stance for so far, the test administrators expect that you should be able to make a logical deduction of what the author may think of the new possible connected topic at the hand. Ideally, the types of questions that you would see for the question type would be along the lines of. So first question, how would the author of the passage most likely respond to the assertion that? In order to answer these questions, not only will you need a thorough logical understanding of how the new topic may fit into the context of the passage, you will also need to be able to deduce the perspective and preference of the author based on whatever you have understood of the passage so far. Naturally, your logical consistency is the supreme importance here, and how well you have been following the author's stance is heavily tested on this question. Number two, the other category of questions may ask you to compare something in the passage to a hypothetical example from a completely different situation. In fact, this is where extrapolation is its truest form is seen to take place. You are essentially being asked, here to follow two parallel worlds, one that is committed to what is explicitly mentioned in the passage, and one that is exceedingly similar to the first passage, adherent world, but entirely alternative in that it is hypothetical. Now, the trouble essentially lies with the fact that hypothetical alternative is altogether random and different in each answer choices. So when you answer this question, you are automatically pushing your mind to parallelly imagine up to six different alternative situations. If you don't have the practice to be able to tackle them at one time, that is by the very true nature because of the increased brain work involved in these questions. Certainly harder and will likely to take a little longer to answer. You must learn to train your mind to actually observe the variables in each and every situation and find which situation have the most similar variables in action. An example for this type of questions could be the compromise situation of the eagle described in line X is most similar, and then the correct answer could amount to something like a ballerina with a broken foot. In this instance, you will have to understand that perhaps the analogy lies in the helplessness of an eagle may have faced in the situation as portrayed in the passage. In these questions, you are asked to abstract all particulars and focus on what is essential to the situation or relationship in its most rigid logical form. In both the cases, however, seemingly remote the focus of the question is, to correct answer should still resonate with the author's main idea or conclusion as demonstrated by the passage. Remember that the correct option has to mirror the idea presented in the passage. Thank you. Have a nice day.